time 3-1's max packs in the final.
We already got a probe leading for SOS, so we'll see what that does. A lot of the Korean Protosses have been just going for as early as possible harassments, but I think we are expecting a bit of fireworks from this guy in the top right of 2,000 atmospheres. He is Team Envy's SOS.
And spawning over in the bottom left, representing mouse sports forever and always, it is HeRoMaRiNE. SOS looks so slunk down, like so comfortable in this chair. Like, you know, that is quite a relaxed posture. Oh, that is cute to start things off. This is something that SOS has been doing in pretty much every PvT that he's been playing, by the way. Just one of his first 12 probes immediately across the map to cause a little bit of chaos.
A lot of them are doing very obnoxious probe harassment, but then add the probe seems to be more of an SOS thing.
Oh, what?
And, well, this, I gotta say, is pretty much just an SOS thing. He's proxy 2-gating HeRoMaRiNE in his own base. This is just not something anyone else would try, and HeRoMaRiNE pretty much is going to be out of his comfort zone, even though he's on a 17-match winning streak against TVP. I can guarantee it's not TVP that looks like this.
Okay, when I said he does this a lot, I've never seen him do this, and I think HeRoMaRiNE's responding well. Maybe he needs to pull some more SCVs, you know, because that second gateway, I think it is going to get up. Maybe he should switch already, because it's going to get cancelled, this one, I do believe, on the left. So switch over HeRoMaRiNE. Like, this is already going to get sickeningly dicey.
This is such a weird
Is he going to cancel it? He's not cancelling it? Oh, I mean,
what?
That was a surprise. I think that was a bit of a waste there, but one Zealot is in the making now.
Where does this really go, though? I mean, this is the most obvious and easiest response as well for HeRoMaRiNE, by the way. I don't think, you know, if you're hoping the guy is like Reaper first, Reaper first, Reaper first, and he still goes Reaper first, then you're not really giving HeRoMaRiNE a lot of credit. So if this is what he's hoping that HeRoMaRiNE does, where does this lead? Just seriously more micro and then eventually get stalkers out in your opponent's face and micro around the Marine production? Is that the ultimate goal?
You know, I'm actually not sure at all. Like, he's got the Cyber Core going up back at home, but and then he maybe wants to get shield batteries here, there, and everywhere, but I think HeRoMaRiNE's dealing with this very well. Even kills the pylon that's powering the second gateway, where the second Zealot would pop out, and I think HeRoMaRiNE's handled this absolutely beautifully, actually.
Yeah, it's I gotta agree. Maybe some other Terrans would have gotten too caught up in the Zealot chase and wouldn't have gotten the pylon. But even then, I still wonder how much damage it really could have done. In this case, it's only going to be one more Zealot. Even has room to add an add-on, funnily enough. The bunker's still up, and now the factory was maybe like 20 gas, something like that late. It still was about as fast as HeRoMaRiNE could have gotten it. It forces HeRoMaRiNE's build to be messy, but it forces SOS's build to be even messier.
I just saw SOS's head be a bit like, oh no, really? Like, I didn't even get the Marine there, because maybe getting that Marine might have meant that Adept could have popped out, but no, not at all. And the follow-up for this? Well, obviously, you're going to get a Nexus on the way.
Yeah, obviously, and, you know, more gateways, of course.
But I think all said and done, HeRoMaRiNE, even though that was weird as hell, like, that was such a commitment by SOS, and the probe count isn't that good for him. He's going up to 3 gates back at home, given that he's lost 3 gates in the base of HeRoMaRiNE. I love this position for HeRoMaRiNE.
Sorry, shouldn't have left. That does not look like a really good resources lost, in my opinion. And SOS, not going to be really doing anything tricky as far as technology goes, or even extreme greed, because I could see him going from one extreme to the other. He actually is just kind of continuing on with the same idea, but perhaps hoping that, you know, one all-in fails, do it again actually still works 10 years into StarCraft 2. It is more gateways, but they're going to be scouted by this Hellion. I mean, HeRoMaRiNE should definitely prioritize scouting, even if the probes look awfully tasty.
They do definitely look tasty, but I guess he was just hoping to get the vision, like of a natural going on, but
I guess.
You're right. I would have gone into that main base for sure, just to make sure there's no, like, Twilight Council or Dark Shrine, but maybe he's just so aware of how much went into that he knows there can't be any super tech behind the way, but it was very smart of him to get the Hellion just to rush across the map like that.
I did like that, yes, a lot. And I'm wondering if he thinks I'm still going to push anyways, like I'm bringing the pain to SOS, which also does give you a bit of scouting unless they've hidden something out in the map, which SOS absolutely could have done. But the point is, HeRoMaRiNE is trying to actually do something against SOS, get a couple of stalkers, get the shield battery. I don't know if he can, of course, end the game. There's going to be too much production, but in that way, he's also going to be trying to play out the rest of the game. This isn't his intention to win, but he could probably do a lot of harassment.
Oh, he certainly can. Like, SOS, he's tried to pile out a lot of units very quickly, a lot of Stalkers here, and the nice little push at the front. HeRoMaRinE sees the 2 Stalkers over there, and it's going to be... Oh, I mean, SOS is actually prepared for this very well. It's got to be said. Yep. Oh, the Stalker, though. It's not what he wanted.
No, not at all. Probe just wasn't there to actually take the targeting, but it is going to have to move on, and SOS has found himself in a position with 2 Nexus, a Robo, some solid production. So I was going to say, I actually think he's going to try and be aggressive, and there's the Warp Prism, but really not far enough ahead in the probes to be economically sound. He's got to do some serious damage, but HeRoMaRinE looks to be anticipating that, knows that maybe some safety is in order, gets a bunker, a little bit of a wall, a tank, more tanks in the way, a Raven, of course, all-encompassing in the defense. Sometimes it can be like a little lopsided against like a really strong gateway attack. One auto turret maybe can't cover, but it is ultimately a very safe move here from HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, is that his 2nd tank or his 3rd tank on the way?
Second.
If he has 1 tank in each base, that just stops the Warp Prism entirely, being able to do the 4 Stalker drop in each base. And HeRoMaRinE, I love this. This Hellion still being useful, denying the 3rd base. And HeRoMaRinE, he's very well set up. He's getting +1 stim, 3 Raxus before his 3rd TC. He's absolutely respecting SOS, and SOS can't really get much done, I don't believe.
I mean, he's going to get a couple of things, which is, and it's not direct damage, but I mean, he's going to get some scouting information. He's going to have the harassment, and a Warp Prism in a game of TVP is always obnoxious for the Terran, if it stays alive, of course. But the actual amount of damage he can do here, it is still limited. Even though 4 Stalkers one-shot an SCV, it just eventually another tank will pop out, there'll be enough units to spread around, and the Stalkers won't get very much more, but if they can get all of this for free, then more power to SOS.
This is definitely good for SOS. I think HeRoMaRinE did misposition that tank. He was more looking to save his production, maybe thinking it was going to be a blink all-in from the front or a blink into the main base, but didn't anticipate this one. And SOS is actually trading ridiculously well. He's getting a 3rd base behind this, charge, and a Dark Shrine.
It's kind of funny to see all of that, but I think it really makes sense. He's actually applied the pressure back to HeRoMaRinE, maybe hoping he also isn't going to do any scouting. HeRoMaRinE does get into the natural and see the Twilight Council researching, but you would maybe just assume that it's Blink. I mean, it's actually maybe hard to tell in this specific game if Blink could have already been done, but then I think it would have used it to do more damage with the Stalkers. So anyways, that's not really a lot of reveal there for HeRoMaRinE, who did not get into the main base. But if SOS is applying the pressure and kind of expecting HeRoMaRinE to do one just solid push to try and end the game, then Charge Lot's overwhelming the push before it sets up, and DT's harassing while the Terran goes across the map. Those are 2 pretty scary options.
I actually do like everything SOS is doing, by the way, from this point on, considering how bad the early game was for him. Because if HeRoMaRinE's goal, and it is, by the way, to move out across the map, because he is doing a 5 barracks 2 base big attack. It's basically an all-in. Getting a huge amount of Zealots, the Archons, sticking with the shield batteries, it is going to be tough to hold because he can't afford to tech out of this. Yeah. But he doesn't have Blink, right?
No, he doesn't. I mean, again, this is a situation that's very odd. Maybe HeRoMaRinE's like, oh, maybe he could have fit in Blink or something, but SOS obviously not doing a lot of Blink Stalker time buying, because he just literally can't. HeRoMaRinE has been doing this build quite often. SOS perhaps picking up on the 5 racks, knows it's going to be dedicated, but the drop in the main, something that HeRoMaRinE's been doing to a lot of success, is already doing damage. But speaking of drops in the main, DT's looking for a lot of damage, a lot of distraction as well, but HeRoMaRinE marching forward confidently, doesn't have his tank siege. Auto turrets do come down though, and the Zealot numbers just aren't even there anymore. There was like 5 of them and that was it. The rest of SOS's army does not stand up to what HeRoMaRinE has.
But what's happening in the back of HeRoMaRinE's base? I don't see many SCVs falling, but the army of SOS, it just melted away. More Zealots being warped in, but it's just too little, and HeRoMaRinE is dealing with it back at home as well. Really damn well in this attack. It's absolutely doing what he sought it out to do. Yep,
he might have gotten the tanks away, but the amount of pilots still left is just too considerable. The Raven's still alive as well, so no last-minute DT defense. The Warp Prism does come back for a little bit of extra micro, but SOS, I believe, is I mean, his opener didn't really work out. The follow-up could have been tricky enough, yes, but I actually don't think there was maybe possible to be prepared. If he could get 16 Zealots waiting for the tank push, then yes, of course, that's super scary. But he had 4. Only now is he really warping it a decent amount, but is that going to conquer this amount of bio? No, it's not.
I mean, that Daddy Immortal's definitely doing a good job, but the shield battery isn't done just yet. Now it's going to get up. Maybe has a shield battery available as well to hold on, but so many Widow Mines. Nice drop by Big Gabe, throwing everything he has at SOS here. SOS still trying to hold on. Decent micro by him with the Warp Prism and really holding on by that shield battery overcharge, but HeRoMaRinE isn't slowing down.
And he's actually got the option of the natural to push. I mean, it can be a little weird if that maybe gives the Protoss a surround opportunity, but it is there. The Robo's there. HeRoMaRinE, though, knowing the shield battery's out of juice, going to continue pressuring this specific location. It seems like the theme of today is going to be Warp Prisms and Immortal Micro to try and save the Protoss' life, but can it do it here? The Zealots do manage to bypass the Widow Mines and jump a little bit on top of the bio, which is getting awfully low in health. It's been stimmed. The energy on the medevacs are running out. So SOS is making this a lot closer than it had any right to be, but that is the power of the micro. That is the power of the shield battery.
This is actually really close, because if SOS, and remember, he's still on 3 base economy, he didn't lose any probes with that. He is only running off 3 gases, so all those probes mining as many minerals as possible. I don't know what his gateway count is exactly, but he's been more 8 gates. Like, he can still muster an army, but this is a beautiful drop by Gabe, but SOS is more than prepared for it.
Yeah. The absence of the army on the front lines maybe had him like, yeah, I think it's going to be a drop. Which he was absolutely right about. He manages to deflect it without having to split his army either. The Observer now has full coverage of the attack, and HeRoMaRiNE's going to go for a couple of the freebies there on the edge. It does deep power, too, out of the 8 gateways. But HeRoMaRiNE, despite losing some SCVs, of course, still on the 2-base attack, he does still have an economy that can afford to send plenty of bio units, specifically Marauders, across the map. But now we have some Zealots being able to be warped in offensively. SOS doing his best to cling on to life here, and eventually his 3-base economy might be able to overpower, but he's got to be so consistent with saving these Big Daddy Immortals. That's actually been what's so helpful.
How many
against
SCVs?
Many Marauders.
Look at the SCVs that have gone down. 18 SCVs in the main.
Yeah,
this is so close now. Like, the supplies, it's literally 20 in it. That Immortal surviving with red health, both of them so low, but HeRoMaRiNE, he's still pushing it. So many Widow Mines crawling in now, acting like a beat shield. Big warp in from SOS. Can he hold on? One Immortal does fall. I think this is it. I don't think he can hold on for any longer.
No, I don't think so. He's been so significantly down in the army supply that it really has been the micro and defender's advantage with the shield battery that has been helping him. But eventually the numbers that HeRoMaRiNE was providing to the front line was just unbeatable. But SOS actually made that look like one hell of a game after his 3 gates. Proxy in-base 3 gates right in front of the Terran failed.
That was that definitely was a bit of a jazzy move by SOS. I think he was hoping that HeRoMaRiNE would overreact in some way or just misreact and misread it, but I think HeRoMaRiNE dealt with that super cleanly, pulled a lot of SCVs, really respected it, went for the gateways as opposed to the pylon, which was the first move, and I think that's the right move because you can rebuild the pylons much easier. They obviously build a lot faster as well. The bunker coming down as well really bought him a lot of time, and he never misreacted actually. Like, he chased the Zealot away just enough to deal damage, and then, okay, I'm back to killing the buildings and stuff. It was very well handled by HeRoMaRiNE, and that is the kind of play that SOS, throwing that at HeRoMaRiNE and just kind of failing so badly, that really goes like, oh wow, this guy, this isn't a build you can really prepare for, but he dealt with it as well as you could, and I think he just didn't know how much HeRoMaRiNE plays on the ladder right now. He plays against so much Protoss, guys, it is unreal.
Does he play against that build too often? Maybe not, but there are tons of Protosses that are trying to trip up HeRoMaRiNE. So it actually wouldn't be surprising if did an interview with him and he was like, oh yeah, I saw that once or twice. Because I could totally see it. I mean, we saw someone do a Proxy Nexus like last season. So, I mean, weird things do happen in these season finals. But for this to be the first thing to come out, SOS was hoping for a bit more of a misread, misdefense, and then maybe the follow-up is a little bit stronger. Maybe this defense is a little bit easier. And not only have you won a game where a 3-gate in-base worked, but you also won a game where HeRoMaRiNE is probably confident that he would win, right? Like, this would have been just not only 1 point in SOS's favor, it would have been a real, I think, mental block for HeRoMaRiNE to get past that. But HeRoMaRiNE does seal the deal, gets the victory that he probably was supposed to have from the 3 gateways, and now we get to move on to game 2, which is going to be on Oxide.
And yeah, I don't know what map picks there were between them. I know both these maps actually are pretty decent for TVP on both ends of the spectrum, but I think for HeRoMaRiNE, you can be like, wow, we went with that. I wonder what the next game is going to bring, because SOS, I think he's actually a really hard player to prepare for because you can go and look at 10 of his games against PvT and you can be like, well, he did a different thing every time. Like, he went for a one-base Blink all-in, one-base DT builds and all that jazz, and he's actually pretty difficult, but the thing about HeRoMaRinE that actually makes him so good in this matchup and so difficult for Protoss players is he doesn't need to deviate too much. He's so good at doing what he does. He's very frequently making a Raven, like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a Raven, and he utilizes it in so many different ways, either to harass the order turrets. I mean, he's actually a very hard Terran to go up against.
Yeah, he's actual, like, that 2-base build that he did is actually something he's been very fond of. And while maybe it has its, like, it's setbacks, like, it's not the perfect build to ever exist, it is something that I think he feels super confident with, no matter the situation. But we're going into Oxide specifically, and I just got to throw out there, that is the proxy Void Ray map. And we have seen still successful proxy Void Rays in all skill levels, basically. And very recently, too, from other Protosses and other Terrans.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a fella called King Cobra that wreaked havoc on a lot of Terrans over in the ESL Cup. But, I'm very much looking forward to this one. And we do... Wow, double Gabe? Holy cow, that is awesome. But immediately to start things off, there is going to be a probe moving on the map. But spawning over in the bottom left, representing Mouse Sports, it is HeRoMaRinE.
And in the top right, as the blue Protoss now down a game, he is SOS.
A big fan of this early probe harass. We did go into that a little bit. Oh my god.
Really? No. No.
Okay, now I want that big Gabe double cam just to see the emotions twice. Like, oh, really? I think he's going to...
I think he's just in the gateways.
Yeah, I mean... There's almost no point putting down that pylon.
But then he's saving money. Back at home, he could have built a gateway.
I think he's going to do
gateways.
gateways.
Yeah, he's going to do it. He's going to do it again. It's the Goofy meme.
Oh
my god.
Well, I mean, okay. This actually excites me a little bit in the sense that maybe he felt he did something totally wrong, and I think he did. He built the second and third, or one of the pylons out of range of the second gateway. Yeah. Maybe we'll see what happens with that change, but yeah, this is already a very weird series, but this is what I wanted from SOS.
The other game, though, was like, yes...
Oh, look at the Nexus behind it, too. He's going for a Nexus.
Okay, I do like that it's different, because I was going to say, like, there was no third gateway this time. The second gate was actually very surrounded by the SCVs, so you definitely don't want to do this with, like, a single gateway alive, which that also is not looking so hot. SOS is forcing HeRoMaRinE to drastically reduce his mineral income, while SOS increases his.
Yeah.
But what SOS gives up for this is any type of decently timed technology. He's literally starting his gateway now.
And his first gases? Like, I wonder what he was hoping. Maybe
I think maybe one of those gateways in the main was supposed to finish so he could go to Cybernex.
Yeah. And then not too much stunt his tech path, but now he has to wait for the gateway to finish to get the cyber core. I like the fact that HeRoMaRine's going for the Reaper immediately after just to check out what the hell is going on the other side of the map. But already a very weird series, and HeRoMaRiNE, upon seeing that, nothing got finished over here, he's going to go for a CC on the low ground, which I also like that move, because that is a hard move to make when somebody's just done what SOS did.
Yeah, it is. Like, this, maybe you look at it in rewind in your brain, you're like, well, yeah, of course he couldn't do this, or he could do this, but it's supposed to be a very hard game to read, and HeRoMaRiNE just given himself the best options possible to actually get the real factual information. So the Reaper follow-up is actually fantastic. It's only a Zealot. The research was so late. The technology was so late. Now the Reaper has a shot to get not just 2 probes, maybe even upwards to 4 if he really wanted to micro his little heart out, which there's no reason he can't. Like, nothing is happening back on HeRoMaRiNE's side of the map.
It's kind of funny that he was kind of forced to make a second Zealot there just in case, but rallying across 2 Marines at a time as well, or at least the 2 Marines that he made behind all this, maybe to just hope to get damage done, which 2 Marines and a Reaper, that could actually start doing something pretty damaging over here, and I think HeRoMaRiNE's actually getting himself in a decent spot, and yet again.
I do like his spot, but it's, even regardless of these forward units, and there is now a forward pylon as SOS thinks up the next part of this build. HeRoMaRiNE's not going to get back in the main yet. There is a second Stalker. It's going to be the Stargate in proxy.
Okay,
No.
I like this. I mean, okay, you can do 2 things with this. I think it's going to be an Oracle to try and harass very quickly.
So.
Yeah, I think that's the best move that he can do with this. If you run Strange Widowmine, that would be very bad for him. HeRoMaRinE is being very safe behind all this. He's not going greedy for a third CC or anything. Respecting his opponent, getting out the barrack, or the second barrack to the starport as well. Getting out a lot of Marines as well, most importantly.
And the Oracle could do some little bit of damage, but, you know, even in an ideal scenario for the Protoss, the Proxy Oracle is not nearly as lethal as it once was. Not lethal at all, actually. But especially if HeRoMaRiNE's going to try and be aggressive again, then I could see some type of unit in Proxy. It is actually a Void Ray, guys. Doing some better damage. But HeRoMaRiNE might have chased that probe a little bit. He's actually mostly staying at home. Still waiting for the medevac. So the timing of this actually could be supremely awkward. I hope the medevac doesn't fly into the Void Ray.
I hope that too. I really hope that. But HeRoMaRiNE needs to kind of sniff this out a little bit. Like, okay,
there we go.
He is scouting. He's like, okay, multiple gateways. Where's your tech, buddy? And at this point, you could actually think anything. Oh my goodness,
what?
The friendliest Void Ray of all time.
Yeah, exactly. You could see that if the Void Ray reacted immediately, that medevac could have absolutely been dead. But instead, he saves it. Now is a medevac with 3 Widow Mines. Tiny little bit of supply block there, too. But here, HeRoMaRiNE has a bunker. He's building missile turrets. This isn't really a scary Void Ray, guys. Void Rays are scary for other reasons, which, yeah, I'll get into now because I was like, is that going to turn into something it shouldn't have? But Void Rays usually have to have the proxy shield batteries because they're really not that great against Terran the longer the game goes, or even necessarily in the early game, if they're not helped with, basically. They need something to help them. And so, there you go. There you go. Already half health. I think HeRoMaRiNE can feel okay about this defense, but again, SOS expands.
You know, it's like SOS read on the forums. He's like, oh, you like Void Rays? Oh, Void Rays are good, and he's just using them in his own way, but I really feel that HeRoMaRiNE, all he has to do is worry about the ground here, and he's going to be totally fine. He's got Widow Mines in very nice positions.
He just waits, yeah.
Yeah, well, like, these Stalkers, they don't have Blink. They don't have, like, a Warp Prism available. They can't do anything, so this is very problematic for SOS. Like, as long as HeRoMaRiNE just grows behind this, gets a lot of Marines out, a lot of bio, and which is exactly what he's doing, it's going to be so hard for SOS to keep HeRoMaRiNE back.
It feels like HeRoMaRiNE was just doing a regular Terran thing, you know, the second barracks,
then
that's a nice starport, engineering bay for the +1, and with it, he has defended SOS's plan, but, I mean, I could actually totally see this working in that HeRoMaRiNE would be so flabbergasted, he'd be so defensive, he'd be so like, what the hell is going on, that he wouldn't punish someone who's expanding behind all of this, but HeRoMaRiNE is going to punish him. 2 medevacs fly out, and SOS did not see that.
He absolutely did not. This is kind of a big game special where he just manages to muster up the courage to do moves like this, and this could actually straight up win the game, and he's still got enough back at home to deal with these Void Rays. I mean,
not scary.
No, they're not. Like, that's like 7 Marines and a Viking. It's easily going to hold that off, and this has delayed the tech and everything. And even recalls back home with them.
Yeah, the recall does make sense if he's going to be able to warp in enough to send this packing, but he didn't actually. No, the combo never came in. The medevacs get away, totally fine.
I was a bit surprised he didn't stay there. I felt like against the slow Zealots and stuff, he would have been fine, maybe dealing more damage there, but just respecting his opponent, he thinks he's got a lead here, and I think he's right. Doesn't want to risk throwing it away. Yeah,
I could definitely see the instinct being like, oh, recall, oh, warp in, maybe I should get out, and then by then you've already loaded up 1 medevac. Be a bit awkward to unload. But he still has his units alive. He is still going to be able to do his push. SOS still doesn't have a lot of technology to work with. Charge lots only really work when you have a ton of them, and they kind of catch the opponent off guard too, which isn't going to happen here as HeRoMaRiNE actually going to just not have to deal with the Zealots. They go one way, he goes another.
And look at this timing. Like, SOS are doing all the right stuff again, going for Storm, which I think, like, he can't afford to do anything else, but... And getting the run-by going as well. Like, we saw that group of Zealots moving down to the south of the map. HeRoMaRiNE, this push is going to be strong, but this amount of Zealots, that's enough to wreak a lot of damage here.
Yeah, that was actually really nice timing. The Zealots, I mean, if they had waited and just for like 10 more seconds, then it gets a lot more awkward, but this could be a lot of damage. This attack could be a lot of damage to SOS. It could actually be the game-winning move. The Guardian Shield is very effective, but there it goes, gets popped. Only sentries and stalkers left over with no additional technology. SCV pool is necessary to stop the Zealots without even being micro. They're actually attacking a supply depot as well. Meanwhile, SOS loses all of his economy, all of his army, and is certainly going to lose this game. I don't care if Storm's going to finish. They'd have to be some really, really good Storms.
Big Gabe, he's coming in strong to this tournament. This is the kind of HeRoMaRiNE that we all wanted to see. He is just playing safe, solid, and sound, even getting up a 3rd CC behind all this. So despite losing a few SCVs and, you know, taking a little bit of damage, he's done by far more damage to SOS on his side of the map.
Yep. SOS, you even have a couple of storms. Those High Templar do have one apiece in just 4 seconds. And they will guard a ramp. They will. But then HeRoMaRinE can continue on with the rest of his game. Gonna send some forward, see that a storm is most likely available. Gets stormed perfectly. That was right in the heart of the Bio Army. And he's got to respect that. But he could also be just comfortable actually containing a guy. Zealot run-bys will eventually be obnoxious, but then again, HeRoMaRinE has a ton of production still.
Clearing out his tanks is going to be ridiculously hard with those 4 Widow Mines below them, by the way. Like, if HeRoMaRinE just approach... okay, this backup, I love this, because it's only a matter of time before a huge swarm of Zealots really takes you apart, but these Widow Mines, they still trade more than decently.
Yes, they do. There's the reinforcements to deal with the kind of obvious Zealot run-bys. They're the best thing to do, so you're going to defend against them. We got an armory coming down, not necessarily to help out with fast upgrades. He's actually only still got, +1 armor on the way, but to cloak those Widow Mines. SOS has 0 detection if the Stargate's been depowered. He doesn't have a robo. Even an Oracle would be really obnoxious to use over and over again defensively in that way. And while sometimes this will seem a bit desperate in other games that HeRoMaRinE has played, I actually really quite like the addition in this game.
It's beautiful play. Like, HeRoMaRine's doing everything right, and from here on, SOS has to do even more crazy things to try and get back into it, because make no mistake, he is super damn far behind, and anything he does probably feel quite pointless, but he's going to try anyway.
Storm can be, surprisingly effective. It's kind of a weird thing where, very, very good Protoss players can use them in a War Prism, hit the heart of the army, but then very, very good Terran players should always be able to, split, decently at the very least. And if it is a kind of normal game, and for this right now, HeRoMaRiNE's in a normal macro game, eventually you will get Ghosts, and they will blanket not just those storms, take them out of the equation, but also the Zealots that you're still really depending on.
These mines really bought him a lot of map control and just safety as well, to just march across the map and be very happy about it. And seeing this scan and seeing this army, you're like, wow, that's not really that much. Those Marauders are kind of fighting without the rest of the army, but he was kind of waiting for that storm to go down. Luckily, he has basically a medevac for nearly all of his bio, which is awesome. Getting more medevacs as well behind this, and look how big his army supply is. 150 against 100 here, and SOS, he's really running off steam here.
Yeah, he's really depending on the EMPs and maybe some good Zealots, but the Ghosts, they're coming. The upgrades are also about to be even once more. Not that Storm cares about that, but even Marauder Slow is going to help out to chase some of these Zealots that are trying to retreat. Another Widow Mine catching a group of Zealots, helping that out, takes out the Observers. SOS trying to set up a surround at this point, but now down almost 50 army supply against the Ghosts. They should be coming any second. The one High Templar is looking scary, but I know the Ghosts are almost here. Where are they?
Oh, look at this splitting by HeRoMaRiNE. That was 3 storms on 2 Marauders max each one, and now they've had to turn into Archons, all of them. This surround, this was a surround that was never going to work, was it? Although he's trying his absolute best, but so much carnage. HeRoMaRiNE's supply is not going anywhere. The storms are huge, but HeRoMaRiNE, he still backs off with a pretty decent amount left, and this is only wave 1. As you said, Ghosts are coming. They're on the way. They're here. Those Archons are just going to pop.
I was wondering where they are. They've caught up with the group now, and now the EMPs are also going to take out the Archons, and there they are. One Archon still with a decent amount of shields, but no more storms. As those ones do not have storms, they're pretty fresh, and now even one's been sniped. HeRoMaRiNE knows that he has one. He's up 100 supply, and there it is, the 2-0 in favor of HeRoMaRiNE.